How's everybody doing? Still waiting on some people to get into the chat. What's going on, everybody? Okay, everything sounds good. I can turn down the playback stream. What's going on, everybody? This stream, we're going to be going over Xenoblade Chronicles 1. The entire... we're going to be going over the entire first Xenoblade game. Now, I'm pretty sure I sound alright. If anyone in the chat can let me know how well I sound, I hope everything sounds well. So, just waiting on a few people to get in, and we will get into it. I'm nice and comfortable because I don't know how long this is gonna take. I want to try and knock this all out in this one stream. We have the Xenoblade Chronicles wiki that has the summary of literally every chapter and future connected, and so we're going to. All right, yeah, okay, I sound good. All right, so thank you. My girlfriend said I sound all right in the chat. So I also have all of the cutscenes for Xenoblade Definitive Edition. So if we are gonna watch some cutscenes, we might do that. But yeah. So this is gonna serve as a reminder. These videos are gonna stay up. These are just to tell you everything that's going on in Xenoblade. If you need a recap, this is not gonna be the shortest recap, but I'm not gonna make it a few hours long. Well, I don't know how long this is gonna get. Right, so let's start. Right, so right here, prologue. The story of Xenoblade Chronicles. You know, you got the battle between the Bionis and the Mechonis, right? So, you know, there's a world that is a boundless sea, and there's only two titans, right? So you see them fighting at the beginning, and then like centuries later, centuries, as in thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? So this is. So the beginning scene, we see them fighting. There's thousands of years after that. Then we get to the Battle of Sword Valley. You see Dunban, Mumkar, and Dixon. You know, Dixon and Dunban. You see there's a clear, solid, like brotherhood relationship between the two of them. With Mumkar as well, but you know, Mumkar runs away because he knows the Mechon are after the Monado. So Mumkar just dips. When we think he dies because the Mechon attack him, but it's not too clear of Mumkar's fate. I got my water right here. And so Dunban is like damn near dies using the Monado. This man takes out wave after wave of Mechon, but he's overwhelmed just because there's too many Mechon. However, he's alright, he survives. But Mechon don't attack for another year, giving the Homs a lot more of a time to build up their defenses. We see this is when we get to the Colony 9, there's better defenses. Well, they think better defenses for Mechon, right? And so Dunban's called the hero of the Homs, right? However, Dunban kind of loses control of the Monado, and he's been damaged. And he really is, for an entire year, he's recovering. So the game starts at the beginning of chapter 1. We see our protagonist Shulk being a little dumb nerd, like seeing this random Mechon wreckage. He's like, oh cool, it's the Mechon wreckage. Yeah, I could use this to form something, I don't know. But then freaking Crabble comes in and then getting ready to attack Shulk, but then Ryan steps in and he's like, no, Shulk, it's Ryan time, baby, right? And so then you start heading back to Colony 9, right? And then when we get to Colony 9, we see Dunban. We find out Dunban has a younger sister, Fiora. And, you know, right off the bat, we start seeing Shulk and Fiora. They got some feelings for each other. The way they look at each other. Shulk is kind of stupid, though. He doesn't pick up on social cues that much. He's a little socially awkward. But Fiora brings him a sandwich. Dunban's recovering. However, Dunban can barely lift a fork with his damaged arm. He still has his other arm. I believe it's his right arm is all right. Wait, or is it, I don't remember. But whichever arm, he still can use one of the arms, but the damaged arm we see he can barely lift a fork, right? And then so Fiora gives Shulk a sandwich, not really important. And then they return to the lab after Fiora brings Shulk a sandwich. And then Ryan picks up the Monado, and he loses control. The Monado's just like Ryan struggling to let go, and he just like the Monado slices through everything. Fiora technically was hit by the Monado, but it didn't damage her because the Monado cannot damage humans, at least not yet. So Shulk is just awkward. He just tells Fiora to shake it off, and Fiora gets pissed, of course, because that I mean, Shulk didn't ask her if she was okay. He was more cared about the Monado. But they have to go on. They have to go through Tephra Cave. Shulk, Fiora, and Ryan have to go through Tephra Cave to get some ether cylinders for the artillery and Colony 9. Just some stupid side quests. Fiora wasn't initially gonna go on. Fiora initially wasn't gonna go. It was just gonna be Shulk and Ryan, but then she just shows up. However, as soon as they get the cylinders, right? I'm just using the wiki as a guide as I talk. But as soon as they get those cylinders, they start seeing an alarm, and Mechon are attacking. They haven't seen Mechon for like a year, and so they didn't even expect to get attacked by a Mechon. But boom, Mechon are appearing, and then that's the end of chapter 1. But so getting into chapter 2, the anti-air batteries. So the defenses that the Homs have been building for the Mechon don't do anything, unfortunately. And so you're getting through Colony 9, a bunch of Mechon, you're seeing people being eaten. It's like a flashback to Sword Valley. And so, you know, the group are running through. Shulk and Ryan send Fiora to try and get a mech at some other district. Fiora's like, no, but then Shulk and Ryan tell them to go. Shulk and Ryan are struggling against the Mechon, and when you're playing through this game, the Mechon are intentionally hard to beat. It is really hard to beat them at the beginning, especially if it's your first time playing, right? And then, of course, you see, they're like, we need to get to the Monado. The Monado's missing when they get there. And so, or the place to get the Monado is blocked off. And so, you see Dunban pulls up with the Monado, starts slicing Mechon. However, that doesn't last for too long because Dunban ultimately, he's not recovered, right? And so, as a result, Shulk picks up the Mechon in the brief moment that they see that it's dangerous. The Mechon are coming. Shulk picks up the Monado, and he sees a vision, and thus Shulk is able to see into the future. Dunban nor Ryan have had this ability, but Shulk had it. And then, well, when Shulk first grabbed the Monado, when he was taking it from Ryan, he saw into the future then, and he's seeing it again now. However, Shulk is the only person that can do this. And so, Shulk has the Monado. They go back to the military district, and this is the big scene where, unfortunately, Fiora is killed by Metal Face. Metal Face slices through. Fiora tries to fight him. It does not stand a chance at all. Shulk obviously loses it, and then you try to fight Metal Face, but the Monado can't damage Metal Face. You're like, what the hell? Monado's supposed to kill Mechon. He's a big Mechon. He's the most Mechon of all Mechon. Why is he not dying? And then we get into that later. But the next day, Shulk's like, you know, I'm gonna go try and find Metal Face and make him pay for what he did to Fiora. And so we see Shulk. Shulk, despite being cool for like the entire first part, right? He starts losing it. Like, he actually loses it. Like, he yells at Metal Face like, I'll kill you and whatnot. So we actually see Shulk lose his cool for the first time. Like, he seems like this really nerdy, low-key dude at the beginning, but then he kicked Fiora. That's his girl. After Fiora's dead, you know, Shulk's like, we're gonna go kill Metal Face, and Ryan goes with him. He has this cool interaction with Dunban, where Dunban's like, I'm not gonna cry because Fiora did what Fiora wouldn't want us to cry, and you know, Fiora died so we would be here. But I know Dunban is in a whole lot of pain. I know Dunban is probably feeling a whole lot of guilt because he couldn't stop it, he couldn't wield the Monado. But anyway, that's just reading between the lines. Regardless, at the end of chapter 2 they leave Colony 9, and then we see Shulk and Rein start going to the freaking Gaur Plain. And then, well, before that we see the flashback of Shulk being a kid and his parents dying, and then it's only a Monado, and then the Dixon took Shulk and the Monado back to Colony 9. So Shulk and Rein go into Tephra Cave, the same cave you went into earlier, except another path is opened up. As they're going through the cave, Shulk gets a vision that Rein could die, and not only that, they see a bunch of dead soldiers or trading people on the way, and then it looks like some monster killed them, right? And so they take the bodies, throw them into the ether pools, and return them to the Bionis, right? And so Shulk sees the vision of Rein being killed, and then he also has a vision talking about the true Monado. We hear the voice in the background we hear talking to Shulk is Alvis, which you don't know that now, but we'll come to find that later. And then Shulk sees the vision of Rein, but he doesn't tell Rein that he sees Rein getting killed. He doesn't say that. We also see, I believe, a flash forward of we also see the flash forward of Charla and everything. Oh wait, I lied. We didn't get to Gaur Plain yet. We go to Tephra Cave, then we go to Gaur Plain. But the Arachno Queen, you gotta fight this big ass spider that's supposed to kill Rein, and then you unlock a shield power that stops Rein from being killed. You kill it. I actually struggled a whole lot on this in my first playthrough. I struggled on this a lot. But anyway, you get to Gaur Plain, and then that's the end of chapter 3. They see the Mechonis in the distance. Really beautiful. This game has beautiful. I want to take screenshots when I play through Xenoblade 3, because Xenoblade has really good places for like visuals and everything. And so they see the Mechonis. To us it's beautiful, but to them that's the enemy. So I think they're probably filled with determination, but not only that, probably a little bit of maybe a little bit of nervous, maybe a little timid, because the Mechonis is freaking huge, right? And then they didn't even know that, but there's a small little Mechon that spies on them, which is probably a part of Zord or Metalface, doesn't matter. Chapter 4, this is where we meet Juju and Charla. Juju needs help fixing. They see this destroyed motorcycle. Shulk fixes it. Juju says that there's a camp further up, and so they head to the camp. Oh yeah, we saved Juju from some freaking monsters attacking him. But anyway, this is where we meet Charla. Hello to anybody joining. We're in chapter 3, just recapping all of Xenoblade. So we're in chapter 3. This is where we meet Charla. Charla's Juju's older sister. Find out that she's one of the survivors of Colony 6. And not only that, we see the beginning of the romance between between Charla and Rein, because Charla notices how Rein. Oh wait, hold on. So we start to see the romance between Charla and Rein begin. This is, well, it's not really the romance doesn't start yet, but the mention of Gato, Charla's fiance, and how we see sometimes Rein being compared to Gato, right? Charla is initially very protective, but you can't blame her. Her colony was destroyed. She doesn't even know people like a Thoron are still alive, I don't believe. And so she questions Rein. Rein's like, I have no clue what you're talking about, lady. But yeah, so we see that the Colony 9, the only survivors we see are pretty small. We know that a month ago the Mechon attacked them as well, and so Charla is the leader of the little group at the camp, at the camp. And apparently Thoron and some other people are still inside Colony 6, even though Colony 6 has been destroyed. And so the party is, well, by the party, I mean the only two people there are Shulk and Ryan. They're headed towards Colony 6. And Juju wants to go. Charlotte's like, absolutely not, because Juju's a kid. This is for mainly adults. Charlotte is like in the field, like she's a medic, like, but she also knows how to attack as well. But Charlotte's trained to be in the field. Juju doesn't know any of that, and so she's like, absolutely not. And so I believe there's a flashback between Charlotte and Gatto at some point. Juju ends up going missing, despite Charlotte specifically telling him not to do, like, specifically Charlotte tells Juju not to go, but Juju goes anyway. And so we see a flash forward of both Juju and Charlotte getting killed by this monster, or this mechon. You fight it, and then you unlock a new Monado art, the Monado speed, which allows things to be dodged. And then this is where we get the introduction to Zord, different mechon. He's faced mechon, right? And he takes Juju and basically says that, this time he speaks, so this is a big development. We see a mechon actually speak. We didn't know mechon could speak before this, which hints to them being, that's one of the first hints to mechon being, you know, humanoid and whatnot. And so this one is pretty strong. I mean, and so he takes Juju and goes to Colony 6 and say, you know, meet me in Colony 6. So Juju's kidnapped. Charlotte's like freaking the hell out, because she already lost, well, we don't know she lost Gatto yet, but she's assuming Gatto might not be alive. And she lost a whole lot of family probably in the fight. We know she's like taking care of her younger brother, so it's assumed that probably her family, like her mother and father, were probably killed by the mechon. So losing Juju really hurts. Charlotte's like, she got to get him back, and Ryan's like, hey yo baby girl, we gonna figure this out, I got you. I mean, that's not word for word what he says, but I mean that's pretty much what he said. You know, because Ryan definitely got them eyes for Charlotte. And so what do they enter the leg? So they go through the ether mine. It's so basically there's a whole lot of gameplay that happens here, cutting that out. You know, you got to go through the mines and everything. You kill mechon, and then they find a Thoron, which that means a Thoron is actually alive, which Gaddon, we found out that Gatto has disappeared, but Charlotte's refusing to believe that he's dead. So they finally get to the base of the mine, and then we see the leader of this group of mechon, not the leader of the actual mechon, but there's a bunch of mechon, and then their leader called Zord. And Charlotte's like, what the hell is Juju? Juju's like restrained in this weird crystal looking thing. And so, you know, Zord, one of the most obnoxious bosses, Charlotte's like, I'm not going to lose Juju, and she starts just shooting all the mechon like ra-ta-ta-ta-ta. And then so you have that fight with Zord. You have Shulk has a flash forward that he sees a Thoron dying. You know, the Colony 6 person that's helping out Charlotte and everything. Shulk sees him die, and he doesn't really know how to avoid it. And so they get Zord pinned down, and then a Thoron takes this mech and starts charging at Zord, knocking him into the ether. Zord struggles, but he's knocked over. Zord is falling, and is bringing a Thoron down with him, and we thinking, oh no, this is where it ends. Shulk gets in some sort of crane to try and stop it. Doesn't work, but then Ryan comes in and ultimately saves a Thoron and Shulk. Everything is good. And so a Thoron's alive, and then we think that Zord is dead. As you try to leave, Zord pulls up again in this demented, heavily damaged state. A lot easier to beat. This fight is a lot easier. Zord is just, you destroy him, and then he says that his eyes were opened after fighting Shulk. And he said that Shulk wasn't even using the true power of the Monado. And then Shulk asks what he means. Zord doesn't say anything, and Zord just goes down. Zord just, boom, Zord's dead. He doesn't tell Shulk the actual answers. Zord goes down the shaft and dies, like it says right there. And so you get outside, and then you see the face Mechon, the face one from the first one. And then he starts talking. And then he starts talking, like, literally, the Mechon pulls up, the face Mechon, Metal Face. He starts talking mad shit to Shulk about Fiora dying. Like, bro has no chill. And then all of a sudden, we think we're getting ready to get, like, destroyed. Because he pulls up with some other face Mechon that are similar to the shape of Zord, and then Dixon and Dunban pull up and are like, "Hey yo, and so Dixon and Dunban start going in, and you know, I started freaking out in this scene, right? Seeing Dixon and Dunban just start swinging, like destroying these Mechon, you know, without a Monado, like they're attacking like the weak points and whatnot. This is actually the only time you could play as Dixon. I don't know why you would, but you could. But this is where Dunban also joins the party. However, they're still struggling against Metal Face, but a Laurethia pulls up and just starts destroying a Metal Face. And then Shulk sees a future vision at this point where he fights Metal Face. This is going to be the scene where he fights on Prison Island. This is the fast forward that he sees, right? And so... yeah, the vision takes place with the Hyentia and everything. So this is like really really far in the future. After this, we see Dunban join the group, and then they go through Satori Marsh, one of the most beautiful parts of the game. Shulk is like mentally messed up. Like Fiora's dead, and he's just like still like trying to deal with that. And then Dixon consoles him, which, you know, people say you see Dixon's betrayal coming, but you know, I didn't see it. Like, I mean, call me naive, but when Dixon shot Shulk at the end, spoilers I guess, but this is supposed to be a recap. If you haven't played the game, go play it. This should not be your experience with the game. You go play the game, watch cutscenes or something. So anyway, this is my spoiler talk as well. But so, you know, I didn't see Dixon's betrayal coming. When he shot Shulk, I was genuinely surprised. And so chapter 6 is actually pretty short, as it shows right here. So this is where they get Ricky, I believe. Mutters something. Dixon mutters something about deceiving the group. I didn't see that. After they leave, Shulk asks Dunban's permission to use the Monado. Yeah, Shulk's like, "Can I use the Monado?" Dunban's like, "Bro, don't even trip. So they're going to Machina Forest. They see a silhouetted woman on a face Mechon who she refers to as Lady Maiden. So that's just a hint to the... oh, this is a hint where you see, like, multiple times you'll see very dark things where I think this is how Egil and Maineth are teased, right? And so deep in Machina Forest, this is where we start to get into Mellie and Ricky joining. So in Machina Forest, we see Mellie, who lost her soldiers because they were fighting a large Laurethia, which, introduction to Mellie, who appears to be a young girl, which Mellie looks like 16 or 18, the same age of the party. I believe all the party's 18. And so Mellie appears to be the same age. However, Mellie is actually 80. So that just gives you an example. So to appear as a teenager, you'd be 80. So that means double that age. If Mellie is going to be like in her 30s, that means she's probably a couple hundred years old in Xenoblade 3. That's why I think it's only a couple hundred years and not a few thousand, but who knows. And so Mellie, Shulk pulls up, and then he's like, "Hey yo, are you alright?" Mellie just slaps the shit out of Shulk, and she's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I mean, but this is because assuming Mellie has been kind of sheltered from dudes, and so to have a dude that close, kind of disrespectful to her. But Shulk doesn't know that. He's just trying to help. And so he realizes that he saw Mellie in a vision when he was fighting Mellie, a Metal Face. And then he also sees a big Laurethia, which they go to fight a little later. Charlotte, as a healer, is like, "Oh, go get some water ether crystals for Mellie that will help. So he decides to just go by himself to go get the ether crystals. After he goes to the waterfall, this Laurethia starts attacking him, and then we see Alvis. We've heard Alvis's voice before, but this is the first time we actually putting voice to face. And then so they're attacked by Laurethia. Shulk tries to use the Monado, but Laurethia are able to see what into the future. They're able to see what you're going to do before you do it. So that's just because of aura. And so Shulk learns how to use Monado Purge, which removes aura effects. And so and Shulk is thus able to kill the Laurethia. But we actually see Alvis have the Monado here, which is like the first time we've seen somebody that's not Dunban or Shulk use the Monado. And we think that, I mean, we've been taught that if you're not Shulk or Dunban, you're not able to use Monado, because when Ryan used it, it went crazy. But Alvis is able to use it and unlock a whole new symbol. So we know Alvis, this is how we know Alvis knows something. Alvis knows something. There's more to Alvis than we may see at the beginning, right? And so Alvis just disappears. And so then they get the water crystals. Mellie is alright. She introduces herself as Mellie, but she still says minimalist. Her guard is really high up. Which is ironic because she ends up falling in love with Shulk. But so she says she's gonna help guide them, right? So they're going towards the Bionis head, so they're gonna go through Ares Sea, but they're just gonna get clearance from Frontier Village. This is where they meet the Napon. The Napon refer to Mellie as Bird Lady. They also refer to the Laurethia as Dino Beast, and Hyentia as bird people, right? So Shulk and Mellie meet each other. She says that she left her homeland. Alvis told Shulk that the Laurethia was wounded, right? And so this was the Laurethia that had killed Mellie's men, right? Or Mellie's soldiers and whatnot, right? And so let's read here. So Shulk's like, we're gonna go with you to help defeat the Laurethia, because that only makes things right, because that's how he feels because of Fiora dying, right? And so Mellie is like, alright, let's go. And then the chief of the village is like, here you go, you're gonna get the finest warrior hero pawn, Ricky. Absolutely adorable moment. And then so Ricky joins. I actually didn't realize Ricky was gonna be playable because he looked so different than the rest of the party, but no. And I didn't even realize how good Ricky was until later into the game. Ricky is an amazing character. Like, I think my party was Ricky, Ryan, and Shulk. And then towards the end game, I traded Ryan out for Fiora. Spoilers. But the Laurethia is really strong now. And Mellie, Ricky, and Shulk ultimately defeat the Laurethia. It's able to regenerate, which makes it hard. But Mellie has powers. And then in combination with Shulk, are able to destroy the Laurethia. And so Ricky joins the party. His debt is forgiven, because you know Ricky does the hero pawn thing to get his debt forgiven, and he gets it forgiven because he helps slay the Dino Beast. And so they, in order to get to the prison island where Shulk sees, they're trying to get there because Shulk sees out in a vision. They need to get clearance from the Hyentian Emperor, which is Mellie's dad. And so yeah, okay, so that's the end of chapter 7. Chapter 8, wow, I think we're busting through this. We're going pretty far. So Ares Sea, they get the first glimpse at Prison Island, which is gonna be like, it's so cool that Prison Island, it plays such an important role in the game. Like, you have it right now in the middle of the game, and then you see it's very important, and then you leave it, and then you come back, right? You see Alchemoth, and then we start to find out that Mellie is kind of royalty. And then Mellie tells the guards, don't even worry about these people, they helped them. But guards actually are suspicious of the group. and the group is arrested and thrown into a specific room. Mellie meets with the Emperor, and someone's disguised as her stepmother. Oh, the masked servant Tareya. Tareya just wants to kill Mellie because she doesn't believe half-breed should be ruler. Laurethia, we introduced Laurethia. We know Laurethia is evil because she's just... I'm sorry, but Laurethia just... She just acts like a bitch. I'm sorry. But, like, excuse my language, but, like, when you first meet her, she's just, like, she embodies it. She's just really, like... She's very down talking, she's stuck up, you know. So yeah, you know that she's evil after the bat. We know Mellie has an older brother now, and so says that they tell him that Laurethia has been slain, and Mellie knows that she's gonna be next in line, not Callian, and Callian's actually cool with it. And so they're arresting Shulk because he has the Monado, and it says the Monado is going to be the sword that destroys the Hyantia, because the Hyantia ultimately turned into Laurethia. And so Mellie says Shulk would never actually kill the Hyantia, but it's the prophecy. And so they send the Divine Seer, which is Alvis, and so they see Alvis is basically able to see into the future, which means he's touched the Monado, which I don't know if there's other seers. It seems like there might be, but we don't see them unless Laurethia is a seer because of Zanza's connection. I don't know. But Shulk tries to ask about the Monado. They meet the Divine Seer. Alvis finds him not guilty, and so they're able to just walk around Akamoth. Yeah, everything's good there. While the group is away, Saurian and Callian start preparing. Oh, so that's the king and Callian prepare for Mellie's inauguration. So Yuma suggests that so this is, I think, frickin' Laurethia undercover. She suggests that Mellie has to go through the trial of the tomb, which is deadly, but they suggest for Mellie to go through it. Anyway, Callian's like no, but Saurian the king is like fine. It would be a good test for Mellie. So there's a conspiracy with Tareya to try and kill Mellie, who I don't know why Tareya always hated Harms, but Tareya is a half-breed, so it doesn't even make sense. We know that Hyantia usually have two wives, one Harms, one Hyantia, and so I think this is the first time we're gonna have a half Ham, half Hyantia person become the leader. I think that's why Tareya is so upset about it. So the main party has to go rescue a Hyantia worker, and then they get back. Mellie has a mask, and so she goes to the tomb. Shulk has a vision where Mellie is killed, and so Shulk's like, hey yo, we gotta go, we gotta save him, gotta save Mellie because we can't let her die. They come back, and then there are a bunch of assassins trying to kill the main party. And yeah, that fight was actually really, really difficult. And when I was playing too, fighting all 5 of them at once, right? They believe that they could be called a terrorist group who wants to serve the imperial family, but that plot line doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And so Mellie enters the tomb. There's a whole scan thing. This is actually a rather long chapter looking at it. When the group reaches the same place, Ryan presses the button, but as Hams he was denied because you have to have the whole blood thing, and then I believe the group is thrown down. Mellie speaks to the ancestor, who's impressed. The party survived the fall. They're like, Ryan, what is wrong with you? Why'd you push the button? You shouldn't push buttons. You're not supposed to fight. And then you fight on the way to the tomb where Mellie is. And then you fight Tareya, who also summoned Laurethia. And so Tyrea escapes after you defeat her and the freaking after you defeat Tyrea and the Laurethia. Again, that's it. And then Tyrea escapes. We don't really see Tyrea again until Future Connected. So Mellie. Okay, so Mellie, they go back and they explain what happened in the tomb, and then the coronation, her coronation is supposed to be a year after her father dies, which is where Future Connected takes place. I actually didn't even notice that. But the party is relaxing in the room, but Dunban's like, why is Mellie instead of Callion the next ruler? But the king decided this. Shulk is summoned to go meet the king, and the king basically is like, hey yo, protect my daughter, be her friend. And he's like, alright dude. But I think the king knows that Mellie got some feelings for Shulk, right? But explains the prophecy that Monado's the great sword, but the king doesn't have any malice against Shulk. And yeah, and then in the meantime we see Laurethia and Alvis discussing something evil, which is obviously Zanza. So chapter 9, we see Saurian saw a vision, which was the same that we see Shulk see fighting on Prison Island. And so present day Vinaya meets with an obscure figure. So this is a really obscure, like, fast forward where we see Vinaya and sort of we see the Mecha Fiora type Lady Maynith deal thing here, as you can see. Can't really see that much. And then all of a sudden we see that Mechon are starting to attack the Hyentia, and then the king starts to go to Prison Island, right? Mellie is supposed to have some ceremony, and then the group visits her. She was gonna stay behind, but she ends up joining the group. Mellie's mother actually died because before the events of the game, because her mom was human and Mellie is 88, which Mellie lives longer because she's part Hyentia, but I'm not sure how much longer a half-breed would live, because it's not a full Hyentia, so I assume they wouldn't be living as long as normal Hyentia, but I don't know. So the group has a banquet, but then they have to leave, and then we go to Prison Island. Saurian is trying to use a barrier that would protect from the mecha, but in order to do this, he has to use the power of who Zanza is, the giant that Zanza is still inside of. This actually isn't Zanza, but so they see this ancient creature, statue depicting Hyentia, but Ricky and Ryan note the statue resembles a Laurethia. So I guess that's a hint that Hyentia turned into Laurethia. I mean, we would have seen a connection now. Hyentia are the only people who seem to have power to fight against Laurethia, right? And so they get to Prison Island. They see Saurian with the giant, and then he reveals himself to be Zanza, the creator of the Monado, being very vague. We know that this means, well, now we know that Zanza did create the Monado, but not as the giant. We also hear that he says that we also hear that Zanza, this giant, was able to defeat the Mechanis, which kind of, they were in a standstill. I mean, he did chop off, while he was Zanza, he did chop off the Mechanis arm, but Zanza's basically like, hey yo, you free me, I'll free the shackles, and you'll be able to kill Metal Face. You'll be able to damage people with faces. We'll let the shackles go. Shulk sees there's a little hesitation that we as the player have, but Shulk doesn't have. He's like, hell yeah, give me the ability to release the Monado and be able to fight Metal Face. Metal Face kills Zanza, and Zanza fades, right? So Metal Face is able to use Ether to kill easier. Saurian is able to get Metal Face off guard and fight him with a staff, and use the anti-mecha defense system. However, Metal Face falls. Saurian hugs Mellie, but it's not strong enough. and Metalface gets up. Saurian pushes Mellie. He sees Metalface coming, and Saurian dies. As Zanza dies, we see the face nemesis. So the Fiora controlled bot, the Fiora controlled Mechon pulls up, and so she tells Zanza to stop. She's trying to get in the way. Shulk's like absolutely bloodlusted. He's just killing everything. He doesn't care that this thing is trying to be a pacifist, like the Fiora controlled Mechon, the white Fiora controlled Mechon. He doesn't care that Shulk doesn't care that she's trying to be pacifist. He's just going bloodlusted. He's crazy. He's just killing everything. Or at least attempted to try and kill everything, right? But ultimately, Metalface is unable to be defeated because he's blocked. Face Nemesis takes the blow, and then we see Fiora, right? After Shulk deals that blow, we see Fiora underneath, and he's like, "Hey, yo, Fiora!" Starts calling out to Fiora. Fiora doesn't really respond. Saurian dies. Mellie is crying. Of course, this is one of the many instances of Mellie having emotional damage, and so now she's going to be the Empress of the Hyentia soon. And so Alvis is talking to Zanza, which is a little suspicious because we're like, Zanza, ain't you just die? But nah, he's still talking, which we'll see that what that means later on. And so Callian tells the assembled members that basically in 1 year Mellie will ascend to the throne. Laurethia is like trying to talk about the Mechon, but realistically Laurethia, she's bad. So back in the palace, they talk about Fiora, and then Shulk is like, he's like, what the hell, why ain't she recognizes, bruh? And Dunban is like unsettled. We know Dunban's probably going through a lot of emotional trauma, bro. He just sees his sister, bro. He have all the guilt from not being able to save his sister. Now he sees his sister might be alive but not recognizing him. But they don't care that she doesn't recognize him. They're gonna save Fiora regardless. So Callian summons the party. He's like, hey, yo, us as the Hyentia, we understand that y'all have been getting absolutely slaughtered by the Mechon for a long period of time, and we've just sat up on our horses ignoring y'all. Now, because we actually lost our king, and you know, this is actually getting kind of real, we should come together, right? And so he wants Shulk to be the ambassador and basically try to create this alliance force to launch an assault on the Mechonis. And so Mellie has a stand-in, right? Mellie encourages Shulk to go find Fiora. Alright. If y'all just coming into the stream, we're recapping the entire story of Xenoblade Chronicles. I had Xenoblade Chronicle in the title, not with an S, but anyway. So we're like, okay, we'll be the ambassadors, but we're still gonna go on ahead by ourselves to the Sword Valley to get to the Mechonis, right? So we're gonna do that anyway. And so in Galahad Fortress, one of the biggest marches of everything, not Galahad Fortress, but getting on the Sword Valley, Face Nemesis, we see she's getting repaired, right? So Face Nemesis is getting repaired. Zanza's still alive. She remarks that Zanza's still alive, which is like, yo, that's crazy. And then we know there's something about the Monado restraints, which means I think the Monado could just harm anybody. The party goes down Valorark Mountain. Alvis explains that Monado was locked away until it was found by the Homs, and Shulk's ability to see the future was because he touched a Monado, which technically would make him a seer, right? Going down the base of the mountain, they're confronted by Fiora again. She doesn't remember them, and she talks to Shulk as the heir to the Monado, saying she wants to talk. But they are interrupted by Metalface, who shoots Nemesis and is like, hey, yo, GTFO. And he wants to take the Monado, and he'll give him Fiora. So initially Shulk complies, But Metalface opens his chest and we see it's this ass guy. It's this asshole Mumkar, the guy from the beginning. And Dunban goes crazy. Dunban is going crazy on Mumkar. Mumkar has been completely gutted out. Like we see he has like a spring in the middle of his body. He's like completely turned into a mechon. So now we see Fiora and Mumkar, we know that the faced mechon are humans in there. We got this idea with Zord, but seeing this again kind of confirms it, or confirms if you were doubtful about it. And so Dunban asks, why'd you attack Colony 9? And then Mumkar says it's because it was Dunban's home. And so Mumkar is just admitting, like, hey, yo, I'm a piece of shit. I want to kill you. And I want to take the Monado. And I want to kill you. Like, Mumkar is just, he's crazy. And so that just builds tension with the party, where we just want to kill this man. Mellie blasts Mumkar. We get the Monado back. And Mumkar releases his claws. You fight Mumkar. But in the middle of the fight, the Zords and the mass-produced faces come down, and a golden mechon. So this is the first time we get introduced to Egil, and he says he's the creator of the Fest Mechon and leader of the Mechonists, and he works for Maineth. And then Shulk, he demands why he would put a Homs in the Mechon, and then Egil's like, peace out, dude, I'm taking your girl. And then so chapter 11, almost to the end, kinda. Chapter 11, Sword Valley. This is a mainly stretch of gameplay, which I think is really cool because you're seeing how big the world is. And so this chapter is just mainly you getting through Sword Valley, which is pretty grind. A lot of really hard bosses to fight. And so you get a fight with the final fight with Metalface. Dunban is damn near about to kill Mumkar, but Shulk tells him to stop. This is the first time we see Dunban actually bloodlusted. Like, Dunban, we saw him at the beginning fighting, but he was fighting against the Mechon. But here, you could see the kill intent in his eyes. Dunban wants to kill Mumkar, but Shulk's like, don't do it. Ironically, Shulk, who's been the most bloodlusted a little bit since the beginning, Dunban's supposed to be reserved for the one. Shulk is actually the one holding Dunban back. And so he's saying that basically you can't do that because it's a Homs. We have a problem with Mechon, not Homs. And so Shulk sees that Metalface dies, and so Shulk tries to save Metalface or Mumkar. Mumkar, just being too ignorant and not wanting to accept the fact that he lost, tries to fight, and Mumkar's dead. Like, he gets pinned and he just dies. The group find the face nemesis wanting to fight them at the base of the fortress. Egil disables the Monado, which is like, ayo, what the hell? And then Maineth breaks free from Egil's control and starts attacking him. And then, starts going against Egil. And this is where Egil's like, ayo, F you, Maineth. So Egil's like, ayo, I ain't serving Maineth no more. And then we all kind of are fighting, and then we get thrown off this part, and then everyone's falling to the bottom, right? So this is that big battle in the fortress. The fortress is destroyed, kind of, and then we all start falling down. So Shulk awakes next to Fiora. Shulk gives Fiora that little mwah, mwah. This is where Shulk kisses Fiora because he sees her, and that's his girl. He thought he lost his girl. And he like, hey, yo, I may not have realized it before, but that's my girl. So, Shulk kisses Fiora. He gets her some water. And so they discuss what happened to Fiora after. And she's like, she could see everything that happened, but she couldn't control her body. So this is like, she can see it, but her body's being controlled by someone else. Kind of like Ouroboros, if you think about it. Because we were talking about in Ouroboros and Xenoblade 3 that even though it's two people combined, only one of them can control it. So it's either, even though, like, for example, Noah and Mio can jump into Ouroboros, only Noah or Mio could be in control, right? So they reunite with Dunban. We start learning more about Fiora being a Machina. Yeah. That's chapter 12. And then so chapter 13, what is it's 16 chapters, right? Oh no. Oh, it's 17 chapters. My fault. So we get to chapter 13, right? And so this is where we meet the father of Egil, which we're surprised that the father of Egil actually wants Egil to die. Which is, we know that Egil has such a haste towards the Homs for their Laurethia just wiping out the Machina for no reason. And so, but regardless, wait, no, we actually don't know that yet, right? But we see Dixon's here, and Dixon has connections to these people, which is like, hey, yo, what the hell? Why does Dixon know these people? If Dixon knows all these people, that's kind of suspicious, but I didn't catch that on my first playthrough. I just thought Dixon was cool. He knew everybody. I just thought Dixon got around, you know. But we get some more lore about Lady Meneth being the creator of the Mechonis, and she stopped the Bionis. But Egil wants to get revenge. Fiora needs her body repaired. Shulk says that they have to go to the Bionis and tell everybody to warn of Egil's new weapon and how he wants to try and control the Mechonis. But Dixon says he will deliver the message. And so Shulk and others are gonna head towards the Mechonis anyway. And then they also want to speak to Egil's sister Vinaya, who is also kind of against Egil, but doesn't want to see him hurt, right? But Egil starts to contemplate, and then he realizes that the face Mechon are flawed because the Homs residing in them still have some memories. Zord has some memories. Fiora was able to have memories. Zord didn't have that many memories, but Fiora did. And so he tries to erase everything of face 20814. But this is where Gato comes in. This is Gato. Gato gets his memories erased, or so we think. We see that he has affinity for Sharon. And you know the interesting thing? If you go back, actually, I want to try and pull this scene up. Hey, that's crazy. Look at how far we're only like 40 minutes into the stream, and we covered like 4 hours of the game. And so I want to try and get to the part where we see Gato's memories. Oh no, that's a little too far. Oh, funny scene here. Thoron, when we get to the whole resistance thing, Thoron and Dixon are basically like, y'all on some bullshit. We have been out here, our colony's been out here dying. Our colony's been out here dying for years and years and years, and y'all just sat up here and let us die. And now that y'all are impacted, now y'all want to do something about it? Yeah, screw y'all. But they're like, hey, yo, we'll do it. But, where's the scene? I'm looking for the scene with Gato. Oh, okay.
At least they would have died for something. This is the made by your old friend.
Let's see. Trying to get the scene. But anyway, what I was trying to get, I couldn't find it. But the scene is basically, when you see Gato's memories, it looks a lot similar to the Ouroboros. When you see Mio in the trailer, Mio and Neo fuse to make the Ouroboros. But, so, yeah. Egil's just blinded by hate. And so Shulk finds him in an empty space, hearing Alvis's voice, finding the true Monado. Wakes up. Everyone survived. Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, so they fight Jadeface. This is where they fight Jadeface, who is revealed to be Gato. He doesn't recognize her and starts trying to kill us. This is the first fight. Everyone's alive. Vinaya. They were protected by Lady Mayneth in this scene. And so Gato has his memories erased. And the face mechon are supposed to counter the Monado. So initially it couldn't cause no harm, but now because the shackles were released, Shulk can actually harm the face mechon, right? And so Zanza is the creator of the Homs, and he's the one who absolutely devastated the Mechonis. So Egil's whole thing is he wants to take revenge on the Bionis more so than the actual direct people. And so getting to the data center, which is the capital of the whole capital of the Mechonis. My fault. If you guys are liking the stream, make sure to leave a like. Got 5 whole viewers. Thank you all for watching. We're almost towards the end of this. Got, I think, a couple more chapters left. And so upon reaching the data center, Fiora Mayneth takes over. Now it's clear she's the goddess of the Mechonis. So Zanza is to the Bionis what Mayneth is to the Mechonis. And so first Mechonis and Bionis were at peace before there was just a mini killing of the Machina, which we come to learn later was because that was the whole thing where Zanza was absorbing life. And so I think that's probably why Mayneth was kind of weak, because Mayneth didn't want to do that. So understanding Egil's desire for revenge, the group starts to head towards the main shrine where Egil is. But before they can reach it, gotta fight Gato. But Gato, as he's attacking, is not attacking Sharla, which is what we're kind of like, hey yo, what the hell? And so that means there's kind of some sort of memory. Even though his memories were erased, he's still holding on to a part of it, meaning it's impossible to fully erase someone's memory. And so they're thinking we could try and save Gato. And so Mayneth gets in control of Fiora and tries to bring Gato back. And so Mayneth's able to break the control that Egil has on him, and Charlotte tells Gato is weakened. They bring Gato back, and Gato tells Ryan to take care of Charla. There was a couple scenes of the romance between Charla and Ryan before here, like when they fell off initially and fell onto the beach. But anyway, so the group reaches the shrine. We fight Egil, we beat his ass, and then he realizes that he can't fight us with his bare hands, so he has to get into his big old Gundam. And so he's basically, he doesn't care. Egil's like, alright, my beef is not with y'all that live on the Bionis. It's just the whole Bionis. I don't hate you, but I hate the Bionis, and so as a result of that, y'all just gonna get in my way, and I gotta kill y'all. I just gotta kill y'all in the middle of that. Y'all are just in the way. And so we get Egil down, but just through the shoulder. And Egil's like, your bait. He doesn't really care. He's stuck together. He's like, your blade didn't cut deep enough. He gets into his mechon, and then he goes to the core to merge with the Mechonis. After finding out that Gato is missing, Charla sees that Gato's missing, wants to find him, but Ryan's like, you can't do that. So they're trying to run. There's an explosion, but Gato dies, saving them from the explosion, right? Because Lady Mayneth is still weak. And so the Mechonis fires a beam at the Bionis. This whole scene gives me chills. When I saw the Mechonis reawaken, that scene was wild. That scene was absolutely wild. And so we got to get to the generator to stop this. He's still trying to figure out, even though he knows about Zanza, how Shulk's trying to figure out why he can still have visions. However, he hasn't had a few visions lately. He hasn't had visions ever since Prison Island, but feels like he knows what's going to happen, which is weird. Which is because Zanza is just controlling him. It doesn't even matter anymore. Zanza is just controlling him pretty much at this point. Zanza doesn't need to show him visions because he's pretty much everything is set up. And so Shulk has a thing where the Monado is just like shocking him like Dunban, like it shocked Dunban, but then Shulk just gets back up. And so Shulk is thinking about the connection between the Bananas and the Monado. He's thinking as how the Monado he's holding is the same one that the Bananas held. They destroy the generator. As the Mechanis spins, he begins to attack the Bananas. And so the party battles Egil, and then they defeat him. This is where shit starts to get real. This is where shit gets real. So they defeat Egil before he can destroy the Bananas. And so Shulk decapitates the Mechon, leaving Egil just there. Shulk raises the blade to kill Egil. He hears a voice in himself saying to kill it, but Fiora and Vinaya say no. And so he doesn't kill him, even though he hears this little voice telling him to do it. He doesn't do it. And so he realizes he doesn't have to kill Egil because Fiora is alive. He doesn't need to kill him. Killing him wouldn't solve anything. So Shulk sits behind him, and they just talk, right? And so they're gonna end the war. After Egil's a little hesitant, but they're like, "Ayo," they talk it out, right? And so they begin to see eye to eye, and then Shulk is like, "Ayo, use the Monado well, but do you really think you're the master of it and whatnot?" But they don't really care. They're just, the war is going to be over. Bionis and Mechanis are going to live in harmony. However, Egil says that the peace was disturbed because of the Monado, saying that, but the Monado that he has is the reason why the peace was disturbed. And so they're talking about the giant that Zanza possessed was actually Arglass, his friend. Egil's friend from centuries ago, so thousands of years ago. And Arglass took the Monado and he was possessed by Zanza. So I guess that's a hint that Shulk is possessed by Zanza, because the giant touched it and then he became possessed. And so Shulk asks if they turn into Zanza. Okay, but basically screw all of this. The main important thing is that Zanza freaking comes out of Shulk, right? Zanza comes out of Shulk, takes the Monado, right? And then we realize, like, oh shit, Dixon kills Shulk. Not kills, but shoots Shulk. And then we're like, what the hell? And then Zanza comes out, and we find out Dixon is a disciple of Zanza. Well, that goes into this next part, right? And so, yeah, Egil saves Shulk after he was shot by Dixon. Zanza pops out. And so Egil tries to fight Zanza. That doesn't really work out too much. And then Maynith tries to fight Zanza. And then that's not really enough. And then Zanza the party tries to fight, but can't really do anything, because Zanza's like really powerful. And so we find out Zanza's the one controlling all this. Zanza's the reason of the attack, because he's absorbing his life force and everything, right? Absorbing the life force of the lands of the Bionis and the Mechanis, right? And so yeah, and then Zanza talks about the cycle of destruction and recreation, how the world is supposed to serve him, right? And how the world's supposed to revolve around him, right? Egil and Zanza try to battle, but Egil realizes that this is basically how he's going to go out. He's going to fight Zanza to the very end. And so the party tries to head back to the Bionis to try and stop Zanza, because Zanza goes to the head of the Bionis. Oh yeah, Mayneth turns into the Monado, a different Monado, after trying to stop Zanza. She gets overpowered. She turns into a Monado, and then Zanza takes that Monado after Egil tries to grab it, but then Mayneth is overpowered, and so yeah, they go back to Junks. Zanza tries to destroy them, but doesn't work. Zanza's trying to destroy him, but Egil protects the group, and the Mechanis ultimately dies. Yeah, Egil has that whole big turnaround. Egil has one of the biggest turnarounds. Like, it's crazy. Like, he is not even, you think he's evil at first, but then you realize he's not even a bad guy. But I mean, he's flawed and he's crazy, but I mean, he has his reasons. And so Mechanis is killed. And so we see the Laurethia start to being turned into we start to see Hyentia being turned into Laurethia. Or wait, no, yeah. And then the group is starting to be attacked by Laurethia. And then so they go back to Callian. Oh yeah, Callian sees Dixon's betrayal, and then Callian starts to turn into a freaking Laurethia, right? Yeah. And so the group is attacked. The game becomes really hard because you fight a lot with Shulk, and so you're not fighting with Shulk anymore. And so it gets real difficult. And so the Hyentia start turning into Laurethia. We see Dixon, and I mean, it's confirmed that Laurethia is a traitor, but I mean, are you really surprised? Yep. So Callian tries to fight off in his last moments, but he's turned into Laurethia, right? And so he tries to take out Dixon and Laurethia. We think they're taken out, but obviously they're not. And so Shulk has a vision of Alvis, you know. He gets a replica Monado, and so we find another group of Laurethia, but Shulk comes in, right? He starts fighting, and then things start getting easier, right? The party fights Laurethia. The Junk spy on his Eteria through the wound of Egil's final attack. When they find Laurethia. Oh, okay. And something else that happens is we see during this point, Fiora and Mellie have a scene where Fiora basically tells Mellie that, like, hey yo, Mellie, if I die, you know, I want you to take care of Shulk, because I know I'm Shulk's girl right now, but if I die, you can have him, right? That's basically what she says, but she doesn't say it like that, but that's basically what happens. And so we get to the fight with Laurethia, one of the most annoying fights in the entire freaking game. Absolutely just cannot stand that fight. She's fused with the Callian Laurethia. It's a really weird scene, but then you kill Laurethia, which I'm so glad. I mean, her fight is annoying, but once you beat it, it's so satisfying. Like, you know, she's one of the few times when you kill a character in a game, it feels absolutely amazing. And so Egil and we get the final scene with Callian talking to Mellie. He basically tells her you couldn't have prevented this. This was prophesized. Don't blame yourself. And Callian dies because he was used by Laurethia, right? And then so the party goes to Prison Island to fight Dixon. We're in the end game, right? Fight Dixon. Get to the whole Prison Island thing. You fight Dixon. Dixon turns into his disciple form, which is absolutely disgusting. But actually a pretty hard fight as well. The last few fights in this game, like these last 3 fights are really hard. And getting to them are hard as well. But I realized this is my first time playing a game where you couldn't save. And so I dead ass had like, I just didn't turn off my Switch. Even though I was under leveled, I just did not turn off my Switch until I beat this game. And I had it on for like a couple days at that point, because you couldn't save, which is just like, okay, don't do that again. I don't like that. But anyway, Shulk, this is a very emotional moment because Shulk's fighting his teacher, and this is essentially the only father figure he had. I guess Dunban's kind of like a uncle, but Dixon's the main father figure, right? And so you know, This is a very hard fight. We see Dixon ultimately die after we defeat him. He wanted immortality, but he's not about to do this whole damn near have to continually fight. But Dixon, he's too much pride. I mean, not pride. He's too much of an asshole. Like, he's like, I'm getting ready to die, but I'm gonna die off screen, right? And so he smokes a cigarette and he goes out, right? And so Zanza tries to look into the future, right? He's all powerful, like, I'm so powerful, la 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 la. But he tries to look into the future. However, he can't see past him fighting Shulk, which he's like, what the hell? And so on this path, we fight the ghosts of Mumkar in Metal Face, Zord, the Alvis, Telethia, and Gatto, which is like a really weird thing. It's like in space, which connects to Xenoblade too, because you also see it in space. But I guess that could be something hinted towards memories and whatnot. So almost at the end. So we find out Zanza wants to continue to use Shulk's body to live in, and so he also says that, oh, you can get immortality for doing all this. Shulk's like, nah, I'm good, and Mellie is like, hey yo, you're arrogant. Zanza just cannot comprehend this, which is weird because Zanza's human, quote unquote. Like, I mean, he's quote unquote a god in the sense, but he's still human. So, but he acts like he's above everybody when he's essentially damn near the same. And so Zanza's like, y'all should be happy. Y'all are alive because of me. But he says that because Shulk's immortal, he can't see into us. Like, he can't understand, right? But he's disappointed that the Homs have become disobedient and need to be destroyed. And he needs to be destroyed, them just like Machina. And he wanted to be friends, but you know, he believes that giving intelligence to these beings was a mistake. Shulk's like, absolutely not. And then Mainith was able to exist with you. Zanza could not ever. Zanza basically, I mean, Mainith saw their creations as their children. Zanza saw them as just food, as fuel. That's about it. And so Zanza transforms into a third form, which is a Mechanist Bionis fusion with Telethia rings. Dude looks absolutely ridiculous. Like, it is just over designed to hell. But I mean, it's a final boss design, alright. But Shulk has visions throughout the fight, despite you know, you wouldn't think he would be able to. But he gets a third Monado, a new Monado forms, and Shulk controls it. And so Fiora tells Zanza that the future is not set. So basically Zanza can't do anything about it. The future's not set. And so Zanza's like, you can't decide your own future. That's only my decision, and my decision alone. Shulk's like, nah, it's our destiny. And then boom, everybody comes together. Zanza's killed. He gets the special Monado. Zanza's killed. The party overcomes Zanza, and his voice is like, everything I am is fading. And Alvis is like, I'm gonna proclaim the end, I'm gonna reform this world. And Zanza's like, how dare you betray me? And Alvis is like, nah bro, you're limited to Providence. And then Shulk is supposed to be a god, right? And then Shulk's like, I don't want to be a god. I just want a world where we can just, the future's not set, right? And so Shulk just wants a world where the future's not set. And so boom, that's where we end off at the end of Xenoblade 1. His friends come in and basically saying, you're not a god. We don't need gods. Like the type of flawed gods, like Zanza, because Zanza acted like he was divine, but the difference is Zanza was human. He came from being a human, and he thought that just because he had this power that made him less human, which it really didn't, because he was flawed just like humans, or Homs. And so we get to the end. The world is reformed. on the dead body of the Bionis. We don't even see the Mechanis at all after this, but I guess we know parts of it still exist because, you know, the sword is in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And so, you know, we see the end game of the party. Dunban is speaking to Vanea and, what's his name? A Thoron, and then the Egil's dad, which is crazy to think Egil's dad is like older than Egil and outlives him. But Colony 9, you see everybody kind of living together. Shulk and Charla kind of like are flirting around a little bit with Juju, and well, Juju's right there, and not Shulk and Charla and Ryan. Charla and Ryan are flirting around with Juju right there as Juju and Ricky are playing. And then you see Fiora's new design right here with their hair cut short, and they don't know what the future's they don't know that what the future holds, right? But they know it's like, you know, it could be anger, could be they could cry, but they don't know. But they want to see the future, right? And then all of a sudden Fiora's body is restored, which we don't know how that happens, or if she's like still part Mechana. I don't know. I guess that'll be explored. But they want to, Shulk and Fiora want to meet people in the future, which I think that's a sign they're gonna pot up, and they're gonna pop up somewhere in Xenoblade 3. But yeah, they want to meet all the people of this world and face the future together, which is like, hey yo, are they gonna have is this gonna be in the form of their kid we're gonna see in Xenoblade 3? I don't know. Future connected, Dino Beast, we're gonna run through this quickly. Ricky has 2 kids. Why is this not going away? Ricky has 2 kids. They're annoying. Mellie, Tyrea are sisters. They actually become cool with each other. The little kid named Teelan does research on how to turn Laurethia back into humans. If a lot of time has passed, Teelan might have figured out a way to do that, and we might see the restoration of the Hyentia as a full race. So you get Tyrea. Tyrea should have been playable. And you fight the Fog Beast, which is like particle effect, right? And then Mellie becomes the ruler of the Hyentia. And with that, that is the entire story of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. In about an hour. The cutscenes are like 10 hours. But if you want to go watch the cutscenes, I recommend doing that to get a better experience. This is just a review for anybody who was, I know I've been getting some subscribers that are Xenoblade fans, so this was just for y'all. But anyway, that's pretty much the recap. We're going to be doing Xenoblade 2 probably. I don't know what day, but we're probably going to review Xenoblade 2 at some point. But anyway, I will catch you on the next video. Next video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be a Xenoblade 2 video.